Pamela, thank you so much for having me to your studio today. I want to know when you first fell in love with art. I know sort of the journey you've been on, but I want to know when you first realized you were an artist.
I guess I really can't pinpoint because I've always made things. Like, I remember as a child sitting at my kitchen table, my mom's kitchen table, cutting out flowers from the flower magazines that come in the mail. And I could do that for hours. And so it's always just been a natural thing for me just to make things.
Was there a point when you thought, oh, I have an interesting point of view, or I'm good at this, or did you just love it and none of that mattered?
Pretty much loved it and none of that mattered.
Yeah.
I think I got a really good art teacher when I was in 4th grade who encouraged me a lot. And I started doing things and she'd put it in shows for me. And it was something, I was very shy as a child, something that I could do and show off that I was good at and people would notice. So,
do you think that her encouragement maybe influenced your trajectory in terms of not just becoming an artist, but also an educator?
Oh yeah, definitely. I'm a friend with her on Facebook,
Oh.
so it's kind of fun. She sees the things I do with my students and she sees the things I do with my pottery and she's encouraging me still.
Yeah.
So yeah.
You went to school yourself for fine art, was it? Fine art education?
Art education.
Okay.
Yes.
Did you know that you were going to kind of narrow down even further, niche down even further into pottery at that point, or were you just open to the exploration of it all?
I had a very good potter teacher also in my undergrad who helped me find even more love for pottery in particular. I decided to go back and get my master's in art after having taught 2 years. I met my husband and we were getting married and he had 1 year left to his graduate degree, and I found a college where he was there that enabled me to get a master's in 1 year. And so I did that since it was going to be such a transitional time. I got a master's in art, ceramics, in 1 year.
Now tell me about how Linden Tree Pottery came to be. I read the story and I think it's so beautiful. So explain, that's your business,
Right, that's
Linden
my
Tree
business,
Pottery.
yeah.
Tell me how that came to be.
A friend of mine that I had met in graduate school needed something for a friend and she knew I made pottery for a wedding. So I created that, but then I had to fill my kiln. And then I had a lot of things. So I decided to start my business as a part-time. And I decided to name it Linden Tree Pottery because right after college, I went and lived in Prague in the Czech Republic for a year. And one of the excursions I took was to Terezín, which is the concentration camp that was presented to the Red Cross as the wonderful thing that we're doing for the Jews and people, because look at how beautiful we have this. Still in the background was all the horrors that go along with concentration camps. I was walking through the cemetery. It was spring, and I just had the scent was overwhelming, and it was so beautiful. And I stopped somebody and asked them what it was, and they said it's the linden tree. And it just reminded me there that there is beauty in the midst of horrors that we have in our life. And so I want to bring beauty into the midst of our everyday lives and just things that people can enjoy. And so that's why the linden tree has been very important to me since then.
I love that story. So obviously you want to bring beauty when there is so much darkness all over, all the time.
Yes.
So what inspires your work? What is it? Nature? What brings out that beauty?
I do like trees and leaves a lot. I also really love stained glass windows. And so I kind of try to incorporate those imagery. But I also want people to use it. So I want it to be utilitarian to the point that they're not afraid to use it. So the beauty can be shared and used every day as well. So those are some of the things that inspire me.
Tell me about your process. When you're doing commission work, you have some guidelines, but when you are then filling the kiln, what do you love to make the most? What goes along with that process of getting started?
I like the cylinder, which is the basic thing for when you're throwing, you throw cylinders. But I just think that simplicity of just that form is so versatile and so useful. You can turn it into a teapot, you can turn it into a crock, you can turn it into a honey pot or a mug. And so then I can apply those images of the stained glass windows and the leaves to those cylinders.
So tell me about applying the images, because I'm looking at some of your pieces and they're so cool. And they're unlike really any pottery I've ever seen in the very best way. So tell me how you go about doing that.
I have a silhouette machine which cuts out the image for me, which is like a Cricut, but
Yeah.
it's just the silhouette. And so then I will sometimes go out to churches and take pictures and bring them back and use the software and draw that particular window. Other times I just get the pre-made ones from the Silhouette store. And then I cut it out onto the contact sheet, the vinyl, and I stick it on. And when I glaze, then it does the masking for me. And then I remove it and then I fire it. So I like to do those in the wood fire kiln and in a salt fire kiln, because the raw clay underneath where it was masked will get glazed as well. They self-glaze. So then I don't have to worry about trying to get in those little spaces with the glaze.
Did you just come up with this process? Is it something you researched, or?
I take a community class over at PFW because they have the wood kilns and the soda kilns, and I don't have that here. And he taught, one of the classes was doing some stuff like that with the masking. And so then it was an aha moment that the way I could marry those things that I love together.
Yeah. How do you think your students have inspired you and taught you along the way?
They are willing to experiment with things that I know aren't going to work, but then sometimes it works. And so I learn from them that way too. So I think, and some of them get really very focused on one thing, and I allow them to focus in on that instead of trying to pull them out. I like to see where that leads, just because myself as an artist, I go down one path for a while instead of having one assignment.
Do you see a next thing on the horizon for you? Do you see kind of a path that you are interested in going down?
I'm going to finish teaching till I'm ready to retire in the next several years. And while I'm finishing that and doing that and working that, I'm going to build my business so that when I retire, I can become a potter as my second career. But I really want to keep teaching. I'm thinking about having a teaching studio when that time comes, but that's a ways down the way, so I'd have to have a bigger space.
So my husband and I just bought a new house, and I am trying to decorate it, which is why I'm aware that pottery, ceramics are really popular right now. Have you noticed that, or is it something that has always been and I'm just noticing it?
I think more people are realizing this is an art form that I can afford.
Ah, okay.
Too, I think some artists and some ceramicists, their process is such that they have to ask for a lot more. But then there's the ones that I do that are more affordable, and you can have that beautiful thing in your hands. And I think instead of people going to the fine china, people are starting to gravitate towards the earthenware and the stoneware pieces that are more functional,
Right.
more everyday functional than that. And I think for me, I enjoy collecting other potters' pieces because I can enjoy something they've made and enjoy that every day.
If you weren't an artist, what would you be?
A realtor.
Really?
I love houses. I
Okay.
love interior spaces, and I think part of that is I wanted to be an architect initially, and math was too much. So I love buildings and houses, especially old ones.
Do you think that inspires some of your work too, in terms
The
of
windows,
shapes?
for
and,
sure.
Yeah.
And that's probably the cylinder, because it's a very simple
Yeah.
geometric form, and houses tend to be simple geometric forms put together.
Right.
And yeah.
Oh, very cool. What is the hardest part of making your functional art?
Probably when it gets stuck in the kiln because my glaze ran, and the really thing I was really excited about is broken before I even get to use it or sell it. That's probably the hardest part. But that's the most exciting part too, is opening the kiln. What am I going to get?
Yeah.
Because it's a chemical reaction, and sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't, and sometimes it surprises you.
What do you hope your students take away from your class and your guidance?
That they can if they want to. So it's not I have the talent or I have the knack, but I can do it if I have to or if I want to. It's not I don't want them to grow up to be, I can't even draw a straight line. It's, look at my cool line that I can make. Who cares if it's straight or not? So that's what I want.
We have to end there. We'll end on a high note. Thank you so much for having me. And I need to stop by and take a class from you because maybe I can do it.
You can.
Okay.
Start with what you start with.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you so much. Be well.
Thank you.